Hey guys, this is going to be a quick video on how to create a pin. It's not going to be about how to design the perfect pin. That's going to be in a different lesson. This is just basically how to create a pin and what Canva has to offer. So to create a pin, you're going to go over here to custom designs and type in your dimensions for your pin. Remember that those dimensions are going to be above the video because they do change from time to time. So this is what Canva looks like on the inside. There are a few different things that you can look through over here. I don't use the layouts feature. That just lets you kind of add different photos in different ways. If you wanted to add 4 different photos in here, you could use this template and drag and drop the photos in there. We're going to go over here first to uploads, and this is going to be where all of your images are located. So when you find stock images on the internet, you can drag and drop them into Canva and they will all be saved in here for easy reference. You can also go up here to the search feature and search whatever you're looking for as well. Just going with the same image that I used in the board cover tutorial. I think this is a really awesome image for pins because there's a huge amount of space up here to design with. So let's add some text to this pin. There is a text feature right over here, and I'm going to click text and click add heading. And up here you're going to have all the different settings to change your font and change the style, center it, all that stuff. So I'm going to change the font. Let's just use this font Trashan. This is a font that I actually added. I may have some features on my account that are a little bit different than yours because I do pay for Canva. I think it's about $13 a month. The free version is just fine when you're getting started because I use the free version for about a year and a half. I only pay for it because there are a few extra settings that do save me some time. But let's say our article is how to travel when you're broke. So I can go up here and I can change the size, I can change the color, I can change the spacing. You see there's a lot of spacing between my lines. I can change the spacing here. And what I'm going to do is I will change this back to black because black stands out on this background the most. But instead of having all of this one same font and one same color, I'm actually going to change the when you're broke. I want the broke part to stand out. So I'm going to change the size here. Let's leave that there. And then let's add a new heading that says when you're broke. And I'm going to make that stand out because I want them to really feel that pain point of being broke, and I want that to be the highlight here. So let's try to make this a lot bigger. And I'm just, again, showing you guys the process of what I do. So that looks good, but the broke part is still, obviously there's all this weird space here. So I'm going to take this out. I'm actually going to make that even bigger and I'm going to see how that looks. So I can also go up here to copy and that will copy my text. So I don't have to change the font again. So let's put broke in capital letters and let's just make that huge and see how that looks like. There we go. How to travel when you're broke. I'm also going to change this font color. Let's see if I can try to change. That looks okay. It doesn't really stand out though. My process for editing pins is I kind of just experiment, guys. I look at the different colors that are in here and I see what different fonts and different colors look best with the colors that I'm using. So you see the blue doesn't really stand out in that background. So I'm going to try again. Pink stands out a lot more to me than green or blue. Red does as well, but red is kind of an aggressive color at times. So I'm actually just going to stick with pink here. And the next thing I'm going to do, I do have my logos right up in here because I have the paid version, but if you don't pay for it, I would recommend just dropping and dragging your logo into the uploads and then you can just find it and click there and make sure you add your logo to the bottom. Or you can add your logo up here if you want. I have found that some people steal my pins and crop out my logo because it's at the bottom. Pinterest has recommended not to have it in the left or right corners. I believe it's because they can match your pins against other similar ones of yours based on the logo being here. It's something to do with their lens feature, but make sure that logo is at the bottom center or somewhere else where it's very visible. You could have it up here, or some people choose it to have it in the middle. That's fine too. Even up at the top, find your space and try to keep it pretty consistent throughout the rest of your pins. So that's my pin, guys. What I want to do now is I want to hit download, and I want to download it as a JPEG or a PNG, and that will save it to my computer, and then I can upload it to Pinterest. So that's kind of it in a nutshell, but let's go over one other different scenario just so you can see how I also use elements. This was a really great pin because it had all this blank space that I could write on up here, but let's say that I don't have that amount of space. Let's look up the word travel. Let's see if I can find, here's another free one. So this is an airport. This is actually not a very good photo for a pin at all, but now you can see that I have this giant space up here. I could try to drag it down, but it still just doesn't really stand out, right? A couple other things I could do. I could make this pin smaller and leave it down there, and I could go over here to elements and I can add a shape, and let's change that to a different color. I could put that up here, and then I could move my text up here, and you see my text behind it. All I have to do is go up here to arrange and hit back, and that'll make my text show up on top of it. And then we would obviously want to change that to white, and then I could move it. So you can see how you can play with these elements, and that also allows you to help your text show up on your pins. The other thing that you can do is you could make this larger, and I could also add a transparency to this. I do that sometimes with my pins too. So I go up here to the transparency button, and then you can kind of see the pin behind it. You could even actually, if you wanted to, you could cover this whole thing up. Just make sure you use the transparency a little bit so you can actually see what's behind it. So that kind of adds a really neat element to it too. Just make sure that your text is very readable against whatever background that you have. So guys, just go through these different settings in Canva and just play around with them. Over in the Elements tab over here, there are a lot of different features. You can add lines, illustrations. You can look through some free photos. There are also different grids, different icons you can look up. So I don't use those features that often, but again, you're using this free software, so I would recommend just playing around with it and getting comfortable with what it has to offer. But for pins, you're really going to spend most of your time in this uploads area using the stock photos that you have, or the text feature right here, adding text to your pins and then editing it up here. So guys, that is Canva, how to design a pin in a nutshell.